What's up, everybody? Tim McDonough from Aim High Training Solutions, back with another story time for you. This week we're talking about undesired feedback. So let's get into it. So I told you a few stories about when I first became an NCO and things that have happened around that time as far as leading a new section and changes that were able to be made and implemented and the way I was successful in a lot of those areas. This one's going to be about a time where I was unsuccessful, because nobody's story is perfect and there's a lot of failure that happens in our lives. So I'm going to share one of those with you today. I had just found out that I was going to be promoted to staff sergeant, and in the Air Force you test long before you get to put on your new rank. So you test about, depending on when you make it, depending on how many years you've been testing, you might be waiting almost an entire year from the time you take your test to the time you get to sew on or put on the new rank that you tested for. So I made my first rank relatively early in my career, so I had a long window to wait. In the meantime, I was a senior airman doing the job, turning the wrenches, that kind of stuff. And after you do something for so long, you can just kind of get into muscle memory with it. You can just kind of get into the monotonous day-to-day kind of feeling, and you can get complacent with a lot of things. So I was doing the job, turning the wrenches, doing the maintenance, and I was getting a lot of good feedback. I was getting a lot of, hey, you're doing a great job, hey, we're going to try and put you in for an award, all those things that you would expect your top performer to be able to do. And I consider myself to be that guy in the work center, the top performer. I feel like I worked hard for it. I feel like I went out and tried to earn it every day. That's just what it was. Day-to-day operations, just turning the wrenches, getting the mission done. But it is monotonous, and a lot of times you have those first-term airmen, those airmen who have been in for a few years, and maybe they earned a rank, maybe they got up to senior airman, that E4 position, but their job hasn't really changed. They haven't really taken on a new responsibility, and it's been several years. They haven't been given a position. They haven't been given a program to kind of operate. And that's kind of where I was. I had programs, but I wasn't given a position. I wasn't given any additional responsibility outside of do the job, turn the wrenches, make the equipment work, and get it back out to complete the mission. So eventually, I sew on my new rank, I sew on Staff Sergeant E5, and I become in charge of a section. And I'm out there jobbing every day, right? I got new responsibilities. I've got a new group of people that I'm responsible for, a new group of people to supervise and train and develop and build. So I remember I was working on a tire on a power unit, so a big diesel engine type thing. And this guy, Stu. Now, Stu, I'm active duty. Stu's not. Stu is a reservist, and he had been a reservist for a long time. I mean, he did like 11 years active duty, but this dude was coming up on those final years. He had been in 30 plus years. He was a reserve, but he was what they called an air reserve technician, which meant he was a reservist, but he worked full time for his career field. So he worked in our shop full time, and his responsibility was basically to maintain the continuity of the reservists for my career field. So it was an important job. I had a lot of respect for Stu. Me and Stu had a good relationship. Me and Stu interacted very well. I mean, lunchtime, if we were going to the gym at lunch or after work and things like that, we were going to be playing basketball. We had good interaction. I enjoyed him, and I knew he was extremely knowledgeable on the job. So I leaned on him a lot to learn things. Stu comes up to me one day as I'm doing that tire change, and he's about to go up to his office, probably take a nap. And he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, you're doing a lot better." I was like, a lot better? I'm getting positive feedback from everybody around. Everybody who's, Stu was a tech sergeant, I was a brand new staff sergeant, so he outranked me, even in the reserves. But I was like, what do you mean a lot better? And he's like, you've been kind of a dirtbag for the past few months. That's the first time I had ever heard that feedback. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. He's like, You've been slacking lately, but since you put on the new rank, since you got the new responsibility, you fixed it. You're back on track, and I like it. I just want to let you know. I was like, dang, Stu. All right. I mean, I appreciate it, right? Stu, I got a lot of respect for Stu. I said that already. So I'll take that feedback. I was like, all right. And then Stu just walks off. He wasn't the kind of person to do that, first of all, right? Stu would talk trash to you all day long, right? You got that banter that goes on in a maintenance environment, but Stu was not the person who was going to sit there and say, you're doing good. It just wasn't his cup of tea, right? So two sides of that coin there, right? One, Stu's like, hey, you're a dirtbag, but he means it, but then he also gave me the compliment. So I was concerned at that point because, one, who else was thinking that, right? Like, am I going to have an inability to lead people because other people are thinking that perception of me, that I've been a dirtbag? But two, am I not getting the feedback I need to actually be able to execute correctly? So there's another civilian in the shop. His name's Alan. And I go to Alan and I say, man, can I talk to you for a minute? He's like, yeah. I was like, this is what Stu said to me. I said, what have you seen it? Like, what do you think? And I got, again, Alan, ton of respect for him, retired age guy. I mean, another person who I leaned on to learn the career field. They're all over the place, but Alan's something special. And he's like, it's not my personality to really do that. I'm retired now. It's when I was I was a supervisor and I would do that kind of thing, but now being retired, I kind of step back and I try and let other people take the lead on that kind of stuff. He said, but since Stu brought it up, there have been times where it looked like complacency's been setting in and you just kind of been going through the motions instead of really pushing hard like you were maybe a year ago. I was like, shoot. Two people I got a lot of respect for are out here saying that. All right, so check. Time to roger up. Ever since then, I look at feedback very differently. And I look for the feedback that's going to be negative. And I try to avoid the people that I know aren't going to give it to me that way. So prime example is I was working in a work center and I had a supervisor who was writing EPR, writing my evaluations and stuff like that, but I knew that they were a very non-confrontational person. I knew they were a person who weren't going to give me critical feedback because they were nervous about the interaction that it would have. So I went to him and I said, look, I need critical feedback from you. I need the important stuff. I need the stuff that's actually going to improve. Don't tell me what I'm good at. Tell me where I suck. A year went by, went through one rating period, and I didn't get any of that. Next year I said, I need it or else I need a new supervisor. I need to know where I'm failing so that I can fix. And to keep in mind, I did not make rank the year that I didn't get negative feedback, right? I was eligible for promotion and I missed it by 1 point. I needed the critical feedback because I needed to fix where I was falling short. I went out and I found the people that were going to give me that critical feedback. And right now I have a supervisor who does that for me. The supervisor that I requested is the one I have, and I intentionally requested him because of the fact that he is very comfortable with confrontation, very comfortable in conflict, and very comfortable providing feedback to you regardless of what you think about it. It's going to be direct, it's going to be blunt, and it's going to be action resolution oriented. Works for me, responds for me. I have a personality that can work that way. Other people might need a softer approach, might need more of the soft skills involved in that, but it worked for me. That's what I sought out, and that's what I have, and now I'm successful because of it. Undesired feedback is what turned things around for me. Nobody likes to be told they're doing a terrible job. Nobody likes to be told that they suck or that they're failing or falling short or anything like that. But it's critical that you get it. It's absolutely critical that you get it. If I sit around and I tell you you're doing great all day, you're not going to take another step forward. You're going to stay in place because you're comfortable. If you keep standing in one place and I keep telling you that's the best place in the world to stand at, you're the best at standing still, you're never going to move because you're already the best, so what's the point? You got to search out the feedback that's uncomfortable. You got to search out the people that are willing to give you uncomfortable feedback. If you're a subordinate, if you're an employee trying to work your way up in a company, work your way up in the military, get comfortable receiving critical feedback. Get comfortable receiving feedback that tells you you're doing a bad job or that you have an area that you can improve, and search for the people who are going to give you that. Everybody else is just there to pat your ego. Find the people that will tell you the truth. So that's our video for today. So if you like the video, if you like the story, like the channel, comment, let me know what kind of stories you would like to hear. Let me know if you got a word that you'd like me to do for Word Wednesday. Talk about it, evaluate it, talk about a story behind it. Subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, let everybody know what we got going on over here. And remember, June 1st, we got a brand new product dropping at Aim High Training Solutions. It's going for individuals, it's going to be for organizations, it's going to be built for everybody across the spectrum. It's going to be great opportunity for growth, great opportunity for development, developing leaders, both inside a team and organizational leadership. So stay tuned for that. It'll be dropping June 1st. As always, team, aim high.